One Barca Worrall. There's only one Barca Worrall. One Barca Worrall.
It certainly is, and aren't we lucky to have him on this show tonight? We really are. And as I said, it was so much fun talking to Marco before the break that I want to carry it on, but we will get some of your questions. Yes, that's right, I'm Stamford Chidge. How unpolite of me, but I'm excited, and this is the Chelsea FanCast. We will get some of your questions from Mixlr and Twitter onto Marco, and hopefully we've got a Skype call too. But in the meantime, we were talking about the plethora of contributions from fans. I mean, one of the things I like most about that, for me, what's if I actually had to think of one thing that the last 10 years of Romans Rule meant to me, other than the fact that we played some great football and won lots of stuff, it would be the friends that I've made in those 10 years. And looking through all of those articles, I'm looking at it, and I know most of the people that have contributed articles, whether they're over land and sea. Very few of them that have contributed I don't know. And 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that. And I feel really blessed for the last 10 years because of that. So it's just a personal thing. But a lot of humour in those stories, clearly, Marco. But what's your personal funniest moment from the Roman era?
Probably all of it would probably have to involve one of the Gate 17 legends, Mr. Pavlo Tripic.
I know this one.
who not once but twice managed to evade the clutches first of the German security, which remarkable in itself, really, given the heritage there, but also the Dutch security in forging his way into VIP areas in football stadium. But I think the funniest thing ever has to be when Drogba scored the goal against Munich. The first chant that I heard after that was, "Oh, you watching Worrall Lane?" Just some.
It was the first, and it was like a delayed response. People thinking, "Oh God, yes, bomb!" And then it absolutely went mental on it, didn't it? I remember that.
Yeah, it must. It's only when I heard that song I thought, "Oh yeah, Spurs aren't in Champions League either." Like, it didn't drop to me either at first. It wasn't my first thought about Spurs.
But it was a very proper Chelsea moment that in our greatest moment of triumph, we never lost sight of the fact that we could stick one on Spurs. You've got to love us for that, haven't you? Yeah. What's your funniest moment of the last 10 years, apart from when I make you corpse on this show, Ross? Actually, that could be the funniest moment of your last 10 minutes, really.
I don't know. Well, no, I remember
what
Marco's
you doing with your
story.
other hand?
That could be the funniest moment.
Hands free, Marco. We've called him out on that before, actually, as it happens, haven't we?
What?
Yeah, we have.
Polishing the
ball
crown
juggling,
jewels.
Ross. Ball juggling, remember? The ball juggling
Not so long
episode.
ago, yeah.
Yes.
No, Marco's story about Pav was pretty hilarious,
that was
because
funny.
Pav was actually sitting in my seat.
He was.
In Munich,
Marco was right behind me, and I was like, hang on, we've got 3 tickets, there's only 2 spare. And then hearing the story afterwards about how I'm going, and then eventually ending up in the disabled area.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Just to move it, a conclusion from our very selfish own quizzing of Marco about the book. I mean, I kind of touched on that with what the last 10 years means to me, and it strikes me in the bits of the book that I've read that, again, the theme that goes through it is that in many ways the book is not about Chelsea, it's not about winning trophies, it's not actually even about Roman Abramovich, it's actually about friendship. And I think that you touch on that beautifully at the end with the last bit of the book.
Yeah. I mean, we got to the end of the book. I think it was the end of the season. We finished it up because we've been working pretty much in real time through last season. Towards the end of it, I went away on holiday, leaving Kelvin and DJ to sort of.
He who must not be named.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Well, I didn't name him.
Yeah,
really,
DJ.
Yeah. Leaving them just to tidy things up for when I got back. And whilst I was away, I was trying to think of a dedication for the book, and it dawned on me how many people had sort of passed away.
Yeah.
Either somebody like Peter Osgood, the players, supporters, just people that were dear to people. So I sort of decided, right, well, let's dedicate the book to those people that have passed away during this 10-year period. And then literally as I sort of finished keying that in, the news came through that my best buddy, Solari, who featured in countless articles down the years, had a heart attack. And sadly, he didn't recover, and he actually died on my birthday in June. So that was kind of like, it just completely knocked me for six, to be honest with you. So the kind of like book concludes, as Ed had written about Kyle and Mark Wyeth had written about Steve, I just wrote a piece about my buddy. You know, and it's tough, you know. I mean, this season's been really tough for me. You know, this is a guy who I grew up with. He had his season ticket next to me. Yeah, you know, I mean, like, mate, it's a real leveller, you know.
It is.
I think it was like, I think Bill Shankly once said, football's more important than life or death. Well, I don't think he ever had a good friend like I did, you know, so...
Although the other, you know, the flip side of that coin, as we were saying a minute ago, is that actually, for many of us, you know, football, you know, is all about friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I mean, Mark and I giggle about it, and I said, you know, the great thing about you being on the show tonight, Marco, is the fact that it means I don't have to talk about football in part 4.
Yeah.
I could talk about things that make me laugh and that are actually more interesting. And you know, I think particularly if you went to watch Chelsea at a certain age, and Mark and I are kind of roughly the same age. The last thing you went to Stamford Bridge for was to watch the football. Yeah. So you had to find your own fun and also your own self-preservation in those days, and you did it with the friends that you made at football. And I just thought it was I mean, I know it has a lot of resonance for you, Marco, but I just thought it was a very beautiful way to end the book, because it kind of underlines it, that whatever happens at the football match, the most important thing is the friendships that you make there, many of which will carry on.
I mean, I
through
think
thick and thin.
I think just to close it off, I think we were quite privileged, I suppose. Henry Winter from the Daily Telegraph read the book and provided us with an endorsement for the back cover. And I put my glasses on here. He did actually summarise that bit quite nicely. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph that he contributed, but his last couple of sentences were, "This book is about long friendships, deep love for a club, more pints of Guinness and always more trophies." You know, and it really is. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
you know.
Absolutely. Now, talking of which, you know, the other thing we mentioned is how it's all changed in the last 10 years. Because when you know, Raymond took over the club, there was no Twitter or there was no Facebook, no social media, and of course now there is. And we probably wouldn't be here at all if that wasn't the case. And we certainly wouldn't have got to know the kind of people that we've got to know all over the world without that. And the prime example of this is the fact that we can now have a Skype call from a lad who I know listens to the show every week on Mixlr, and he quite often gives me a very hard time, especially when I'm really rude to the people on Mixlr. Quite rightly so, Darvesh. Darvesh, are you here? There you go. Good to see you, mate. Have you got a question for Marco?
Yes, I do. Like, you know, when you get into any Chelsea store, any bookshop, you see many Chelsea books. And, like, I pick up a few and I read them, and they're probably really factual about, like, history. And I just want to know, what do you, Mark, and everyone else think sets the book apart from other Chelsea books, like, on sale?
So what sets these books apart from other Chelsea books? I would say the fact that he's written them, really, or that those boys have written them. But
yeah, I mean, I think football books, there are two types of football books. There are football books that are written by and large journalists, football books which are our Gate 17 books, which are written by supporters for supporters. And I think the nicest compliment that I've ever had from any of our books, where supporters from other clubs come down to the CFC UK stall on a match day and say they've read this, they've read that, because they're football supporters, so they just like the matey stuff, and they don't necessarily have that for the clubs that they support. So, you know, that is the difference.
Excellent. And I mean, they are. I don't know how many of those books you've got, Darvesh, but They're certainly worth reading. I've got a question for you, mate, because you're in Jordan, and we had this chat on Twitter the other day, because I think you're certainly the first Jordanian that I'm aware of who's listened to the FanCast. How did you find this show, and how did you find Chelsea? How did you become a Chelsea supporter?
Like, I've been watching Chelsea matches since I was a kid. Like, it's been like my first football experience was the 2002 World Cup, and I've been having the Premier League on my television for a long time, and it's just grown up with me. Like, I just feel like I belong when I watch the matches, and I've grown up throughout the 2002, 2003. So it's been quite a nice 10 years, and I'm looking forward to read that book to see the view from London, not from Jordan.
What did you think of Claudio Ranieri then?
Excuse me?
What did you think of Claudio Ranieri if as he was your first Chelsea manager? I'm eager to know, because I personally big Runners fan.
Yeah, he's one of the people who were really influential. Like he brought in Frank Lampard, and he has to get credit for that.
Hell yes.
So
Yeah.
that's my first memory. I was a young supporter back then, so I'm basically reading back onto him. I was more of a naive TV fan. So
Have you been to the bridge, Darvesh?
yeah, I study in London. That's how I know the show. So
Right.
I go to many matches. I'm home for Christmas though.
Excellent. Well, look, next time you're in town, you must come and find us. I mean, we always actually
Come to the stall.
Yeah, I always pop over to the stall to go and see to Marco, and as he would say, I tarry a while, and usually have a cigarette and see what's what. But you know, come over and see us on the stall, or come and see us, you know, in the pub, or even better, mate, come and sit on the benches one Monday night. I'd love to see you here for real.
Definitely, that's really part of my plans.
Great stuff.
I'll be seeing that soon.
And the other thing, Darvesh, I can now officially, in public, apologise for being very rude to people who are on Mixlr.
No, it's fine.
You know I don't mean it really. You know I don't mean it really, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, mate. Look, lovely to see you and speak to you, and we'll hopefully see you in the new year. But until then, have a great Christmas and stuff, and we'll see you in the new year, yeah?
All right, I will for sure. See you
Brilliant
guys.
stuff. Lovely to speak to you,
Cheers,
mate.
mate.
Quite
Cheers, Darvesh.
surreal, isn't it, that living in Jordan?
Yeah.
Because Jordan means different things
Yeah.
in this country, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine living in Jordan.
In Joe Jordan. Jordan?
No, Jordan the model.
Oh, yeah.
Which part of her would you live in?
Well,
her
there's
cleavage?
plenty of room, isn't there? You know.
I'm
Anyway,
living in Jordan.
moving on from that Monty Python-esque moment.
Peter Andre.
Contributed beautifully from Marco. We've got the benches here. What I'd like to hear what the people out of Mix. They've got some questions for Marco. Have you got some questions for Marco? Have they got some questions for
Can I
Marco?
just say that I was on holiday in Goa and I took out Over Land and Sea with me, and I didn't stop laughing the whole holiday. The funniest book I have ever read. I can recommend it. Over Land and Sea. It's truly a tremendous read.
Yeah. I'm delighted to hear that. It is. It's one of my favourite books, but they all are. I love them all equally, like a parent to his children. So, Chadder, come on. Have we got some Twitter Mixler questions for Marco?
Yeah, a question for Marco from Stone Islander here. It
Oh,
says,
Stone Islander.
if Roman could grant you one Chelsea wish, what would it be?
One Chelsea wish. That is tough, isn't it? 10 more years of Roman.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got another question here for you, Marco, but I suppose the others can join in as well, from Diane CFC. Do you think that Drogba will celebrate if he scores against Chelsea for Galatasaray?
Uncannily, I wrote an article for ESPN yesterday, which was a preview for the draw today.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a cutaway, Back to the Future type scenario where Drogba curls the ball beyond Petr Cech into the goal at the Shed, and fails to celebrate having scored the goal that knocks Chelsea out of the Champions League. So I really don't think he would celebrate.
No, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Personally, I'm delighted he's coming back, and I knew he would. Right, have you got any more questions for us, boys?
I've got a question. Yeah, Marco, how did you get into writing?
Good question.
Okay, I used to write now and again for fanzines, and picking up on Overland and Sea, I was out in Las Vegas visiting a girl that I'd met in Sofia watching Chelsea who was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar, but it happened to be in Las Vegas. Chelsea were playing Arsenal in a cup replay, so at that time, which was, 11 years ago, the world was very different and nobody was interested in football, or soccer as they call it in the States at that time. But a Scouser pointed me in the way of a bar called the Rose and Crown, if I remember rightly, and I went in there and there was a guy who lives round the corner from me, Vegas Dave, if you're watching Vegas, who said, "This is amazing." And I just thought, how incredible is this that you should meet somebody 8,000 miles from home in a bar watching Chelsea? Why not write about it?
Okay, I just wanted to. We ought to do the competition really, because if we don't, we're going to keep going on, and I'm going to completely forget it. Because one of the nice things what Marco always does, he's very sweet about this. He turns up, and he's prepared to give away one of these books if you answer the question. And the question is, Marco, and it'll be signed. Hopefully, can I get all three of them to sign it?
Yeah.
I mean, the third one could say "He who must not be named," or just do like a Voldemort scribble.
What we could do, and you might have to wait, winner. Whoever wins might have to wait a little bit, but we could try and get it signed by somebody like Frank Lampard.
So Frank of Lampard,
yeah, maybe.
Who incidentally
who's done the forward. Yeah.
Exactly, I forgot to say that.
Can't promise that, but if the winner's prepared to wait a little bit, we've done this sort of thing in the past.
We haven't,
so
brilliant.
Make it a worthwhile prize.
So what's the question?
Ooh, who scored the last goal in the Abramovich era?
The last?
No, the first.
He's still there. What are you talking about? That'll change every week, and it'll just confuse me. The first. Who scored the first goal in the Roman Abramovich era? If you email the answer to chelseafancast@gmail.com, and then I suspect there'll be quite a few correct answers and stuff. So what we'll do when we come back in the new year for our first show of the year, we will do a little draw and we'll pick it out. And we will announce who's won that. But that is a beautiful prize, I tell you. I mean, this is a cracking book, and anybody. I mean, the other thing actually that Marco says in the preface is that it's not so much a book just for us lot who've been there and done it and seen it all. It's also a book for what he calls the new children of the revolution, the Roman Revolution. So the kids that have grown up with nothing but Roman Abramovich and success, for them it will be like their kind of document of history, if you like. It really is. Have we got time for another quick question, Greg? All right, have we got time for a Skype call? Okay. One more question, final question, Chadder, from Mixler or Twitter or you lot.
Okay, I've got one here. It's not for you guys, it's actually for Bunsey. And
that doesn't count. All right, ask it anyway, then I'll go to a break.
Nicky Kilduff says, can we get a Zigga Zagga chant from Bunsey, please?
No, because it'll be too loud and it'll break the mics.
Okay,
no, we haven't got time. Sorry, Chad. Right, we've got to go to a break. But what I want to do really is I really want to thank Marco massively for coming on the show and sharing this book with us. He's been absolutely brilliant. I think a round of applause for Marco. Absolutely legend, mate. Love you to pieces. Brilliant stuff. Right, now we do have to go to a break. But I think have I got time to tell them how to get in touch with us on You're on CFFC? Greg, just say yes. All right, okay. If you do want to join in this bit of the show, you can do it on three ways. One is Skype, and you can Skype as chelsea.fancast. You can see it on the screen in a minute when they press the button. No, that would be the benches. All going Pete Tong. There you go, chelsea.fancast, or you can tweet us, Chelsea at Chelsea Fancast even. There you go, and you can always email us in old money if you like, chelseafancast@gmail.com, and then you can ask questions to us, or if we have a guest to ask them. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute for our final bit of the show. See you in a sec.